All the philosophy that I read, all the stoicism that I read about so much is a function of what do I control and what do I do when I screw up? Because I'm going to screw up. I'm going to make the wrong choice for the show. I'm going to ask the wrong question. I'm going to say the wrong thing. I'm going to tweet the wrong thing. I'm going to be the wrong way with my son, with my daughter, with my wife, with my friends, my siblings. What do I do then? How do I handle it? That's how I live now because I had to tune out everything else. Otherwise, I wasn't going to be able to be what I wanted to be. When things are good, stop, smell the roses, as they say.
Yeah.
You will step in shit.
Yeah.
You will. And, we can say perversely, oh, that's good luck. Yeah, we tell ourselves that because we don't want to deal with trouble. But I don't believe in that. You step in shit, it stinks. It's terrible. It's not good luck. There's no such thing as
I'm with you, but I mean it's like what the Buddha said, the whole thing is in a constant state of change. So the good time is going to go away, the bad time is also going to go away. And the
depends what time is immutable, no question.
Right.
But its effect is very subjective.
Right.
And just because a long time goes away doesn't mean you got to be doing the right things. You got to make things happen. There is no luck. There's no fate. There is no destiny. What happens is what you make happen and how you deal with what is made to happen to you, for better and worse. And, I make a lot of mistakes, sometimes for good reason, sometimes for bad reason. I'm very flawed. There's damage. There's damage that's relatable to people. There's damage that's unrelatable to people that I have to deal with, that I try to deal with, that I do the work on. I still fail. And I have learned to accept it. I had to accept because I was going to kill everybody, including myself. Anthony, things can consume you. Italians are so passionate by disposition.
Trust me. It's like an opera. The whole thing is an opera. I'm
consumed. And I really had to fight against that because, just like you did, I got too many people counting on me. And look, I'm going to screw up. And I always tell my kids, almost 20, 17, 13, tomorrow, that don't be me. Learn from me. I love you. I will always love you. It doesn't matter what you do. And I am here for whatever I can do. I'm going to get angry. I'm going to screw up. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to say and do things that you should not say and do. And I try, but I fail. And you have to know that. I'm not here, okay?
Yeah.
I'm bouncing back and forth, just like you, just like everybody else. Yeah. And don't idolize me because I am no idol. I'm just someone to learn from, for better and worse. And I wish I had been told that more. I wish I didn't have to go through the same cycle that so many of us do, where you put everyone in your life up on a pedestal. Because when they fall, that rebound effect is usually too dramatic.
Yeah.
And if I had just had clearer eyes from the beginning, it would have made more sense sooner.
So it's an interesting insight. And, I was, you probably don't watch Yellowstone, but I was watching this scene in Yellowstone. Dabney Coleman is playing the 90-year-old father of the guy that's now running the ranch, his son. He's about to die. And he says to him, son, the problem is that I never was the person that you thought I was, meaning the son was idealizing him. And as we both know, there's no hero to a man's valet. And so the point is, I know this is a weird thing to say to you, but I feel like my public shortcomings, my failings, my trials and tribulations are helping my children. Because if I step back and I describe Chris Cuomo to somebody, and, I've had this conversation with you in Sag Harbor, you're Chris Cuomo, okay? And you've done X, Y, and Z, and whatever your ups and downs are, you have built a unbelievable career success. And again, I'm not trying to brag or not even humble brag, but I've had pretty good success, Chris. I went to Tufts, Harvard Law School, built 2 businesses. I got shit canned from the White House. I'm getting my ass destroyed right now in my business. I mean, I'm down like 35%. But I still built it. You still built it. And what's crazy about our kids, you got to be very careful. If they don't see the ups and downs, then they can get nervous about their own lives. It's almost better for them to see the ups and downs and the vulnerability because it allows them to have that space, to have that volatility in their own lives. I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Your kids are younger. Well, some are younger.
Some are younger. I got a 30-year-old, who you met for breakfast one morning.
Great kid. I got a really talented daughter. So anyway, look, you got your blessings, you got your bad. It's going to happen. Is it better to have clear eyes? Yes. But it's tricky. You know, one great piece of advice I got from my therapist early on in this, because this really knocked me sideways. You know, one of the things I like to say, maybe too much, is how damaging this was to me personally. And I know that a lot of people don't give a shit. That's okay. I'm not saying it because I care what you think. I'm saying it because it's true. And I have always benefited from having very little interest in people's opinion about me. Because I believe that they're wrong both ways. You know, they say these fawning things that I'm like, yeah, you don't know me. And they say terrible things. I'm like, okay, you don't know me. So I've always had a sense of equanimity about that is somewhat unusual for someone in the media. But my therapist said to me, I like that you're finally opening up in the pain and the hurt and the embarrassment and the shame and the fear and the blah, blah, blah. But at home, everything stays the same. Your life changed. You are in the shit, not your kids. They're suffering with it. You tell them that that's not okay and it's not fair, and that it's you, not them, and their lives stay the same. They go back to school. They take their vacations. They get whatever they want or they deserve. Nothing changes. There is no austerity mode. And I was going to do all the opposite. And it was really helpful for me to understand that. Put a lot of pressure on me because I had to eat some shit. You know, I had to keep stuff inside, but I had the therapist and I had to make it okay. And that was hard, but it was right. And I'm happy that he gave me that advice and that I followed it as well as I could. And, you know, I am so deep into philosophy. I read it and study it and think about it so constantly that eventually I had a eureka moment where it is all the same. There are very few truths, and it really is about what you decide. If you want to be happy, then it doesn't matter that there is a knife in the side of your neck. Then you're happy. You may bleed out, but you're happy. And you have to make the choices that work for you. And you have to turn down what other people think about it. You have to learn how to do it if you want to be in public.
Right.
If you want to take swings, you got to be ready to deal with how it is when you get hit. So for instance, I am obsessed in the true meaning of the word with self-defense. I train in self-defense all the time. I have trained in many different types of fighting over the years. I now see them, no disrespect to anybody who does it. If it works for you, great, enjoy it. But don't use it on other people unless you have to, unless you're defending yourself, because now you're what you oppose. But I stopped doing all of them except self-defense because it didn't matter. I didn't care what belt I was. I didn't care about my form. I didn't care about how high I can kick anymore and how fast I am and how it was all practical. My life now is almost exclusively practical. Every appetite, every instinct is, how does this work for me? And what do I want? You want a friend? Be a friend. That's my rule. And then when somebody screws me over, okay, now I get it. And it's hard for me to let go because I care about people, but you got to do it. And self-defense is all about practical. How do you defend yourself? I don't want to hurt anybody. I want to stop them from hurting me. How do I do that? How do I do that in this situation, that situation? And it applies in everything. All the philosophy that I read, all the stoicism that I read about so much is a function of what do I control and what do I do when I screw up? Because I'm going to screw up. I'm going to make the wrong choice for the show. I'm going to ask the wrong question. I'm going to say the wrong thing. I'm going to tweet the wrong thing. I'm going to be the wrong way with my son, with my daughter, with my wife, with my friends, my siblings. What do I do then? How do I handle it? That's how I live now because I had to tune out everything else. Otherwise, I wasn't going to be able to be what I wanted to be. Now, I'm still working on it, Anthony. And that's okay. That's okay. I'm just more open about the process because I think it's helpful to people. I've gotten great feedback of people saying, even if they say, damn, that's really messed up, how you feel, what it is. Even if it gives them better perspective on how they deal with their own stuff, it's worth it to me. And I never did that before, but I'm willing to do it now.